One truth about narcissistic manipulation that you feel most pissed off about right now. I'll start. It's the fact that myself, me, the person that I'm supposed to be, the person that God made me to be, the person that I was born to be, that everything about me as an individual that makes me unique and special has been taken, crushed, thrown to the side, whilst that very same person doesn't have their life figured out, hasn't made the correct decisions for themselves, doesn't value themselves, doesn't think highly of themselves, doesn't see themselves as anything special, cannot fathom why anybody wouldn't put them on a pedestal even though they don't put themselves on one, doesn't go after their goals, doesn't see fear as something to crush so that you can go through and find yourself on the other side, doesn't see fear as something to conquer, basically. But yet still, they have every possible reason and rhyme to manipulate you into feeling less than you're supposed to about yourself as an individual. Narcissistic manipulation has put me on edge. It has made me brace myself for things that I should never have to brace myself. And I'm talking from the beginning of my steps until where I find myself 4 decades later. And I know I look good, right? But this is the thing. 4 decades later, and by the time I got to 39, I said, no. This isn't gonna happen to me in my 4th decade. No way. I had to say no. And the crazy part about saying no is you now have to figure out how to unlearn all the conditioning, all the mental trauma and twists and turns that have been embedded in your psyche for decades. Not days, not weeks, not months, for decades, to the point where even though you look confident on the outside, even though you may act fully confident on the outside, and bearing in mind that is the truth of who you are, but there are more times than you can even account for where that's a facade, it's a front, because you've got the voice of every single thing in your mind, every put down, every word that has been said to you that is not the truth of who you are, but it's said with such conviction that you have no choice but to absorb it. And why? Because it's coming from people that you've given your heart, mind, and soul to, or people that created you. Therefore, they are your foundation. So why would you have a reason then to disbelieve anything that they have to say? Because they're supposed to love you, right? They're supposed to love you unconditionally, right? They're supposed to have these feelings about you, these wants and desires for you, bigger than even the wants and desires that they possibly have for themselves. I know, I'm a mum, and I know I do, because I have to unlearn, relearn, reparent, and then put those steps into action so that my kids do better and are better and will be better for themselves and for future generations. And that is a hard flipping task, because honestly, it's like living in a house that is in the midst of a major renovation, but you're just still sitting there whilst the roof's caving in and there's dust and debris coming down on top of you, and you're just there, just, eating your food and sipping on your tea and watching TV like nothing's happening. No, you're literally in the trenches while still trying to do right for the ones coming up behind you. And that's no easy task. But let me tell you something about narcissistic manipulation. It's the fact that they want you to feel less than, while simultaneously telling you how much value you hold in this world. Let that sink for a minute, because narcissistic manipulation keeps you off center. It keeps you off balance. You do not know where your center of gravity is anymore, because they have told you in one breath that there's something wrong with you, whilst turning and waiting for your response. And if they don't get one, if you go quiet or silent as you absorb that BS, they then wait for the next moment so they can then tell you how wonderful you are. And you're confused, like, huh? Or there's the best ones, especially from people who are supposed to love you conditionally. It's the giving you a backhanded compliment, or a compliment with a dig that comes right behind it. And I know I've gone through that my entire childhood, preteen, teenage, 20s, 30s, and I said no to my 40s, because I got sick and tired of having to constantly brace myself for you to manipulate how I feel about myself in order to make yourself feel better in the moment. Yeah, I could look fantastic that day. And the truth of the matter is, you've seen it. You've seen my light. You've seen the way people respond to my light. You've seen the way that my light makes other people possibly even sit up straight, or just notice my presence. Or maybe it's simple. I just look good that day. End off. Even, or sometimes, you know what, let me dust off my shoulders just for a minute, because there are times, and I know it's happened to you too, where you look like utter crap, really. And although that's not the truth, you know what I mean. When you really haven't put yourself together, but something about you still shines through, and they see it. But instead of just noticing it, absorbing it, smiling to themselves and saying, that's right. No, they have to let you know that you look like crap. They have to let you know that you could have probably, pulled yourself together just a bit. And to do it to you when you're in public, or when you're in the comfort of your own space, you've got to be freaking kidding me, right? What do you get from doing this? What do you manifest in yourself that is of benefit to you? I started to say, when I get compliments, I know. You can tell me my hair looks good. I know. My face looks good. I know. My body looks good. I know. Woo, that outfit that is it. My God, I know. Now, don't get me wrong. I'll throw in a thank you after. But you should always watch for the reaction of the I know, because then that tells you everything you need to know about the intention behind the compliment in the first place. Because narcissistic manipulation will give you the compliment and control the outcome. And if the outcome doesn't sit within the confines of the control that they have created, they will have a problem with your I know. Because your I know says that you're arrogant, apparently. I mean, how dare you know that you look good when you left the house? How dare you know that that outfit suits your body? How dare you know that this thing you just did, that you did really well, how dare you know that you did it really well without me telling you, without my validation, without the thing that you apparently need, and if you don't get it from me, then you should keep questioning yourself. Keep questioning yourself. Don't stay small. Don't rise to the occasion because they didn't tell you that you got it. So you shrink. Now you're off center. You're bracing yourself. You don't know who the heck you are. You don't know who you are in order for you to be your best self on a regular, consistent basis. 1 minute you're up, 1 minute you're down. And it's all based on the manipulative access that you've given to these people who think they have control over your every godforsaken move, over your every godforsaken level up. In fact, the truth of the matter is narcissistic manipulation will never want you to level up. They say it because it sounds nice, because it's disguised as support. But true support doesn't come with conditions. It's unconditional. One truth about narcissistic manipulation that I feel most pissed off about is that I shrunk myself, that I silenced my voice, and that I stopped myself from being the exact thing I'm supposed to be, that I allowed people to make me feel less than. And as a result of that, I have spent the last 4 decades questioning my worth and giving access to things that never should have had more than 2 seconds anywhere near me. And that doesn't just go for my foundation. It goes for the people that remind me, that are familiar to that foundation, because the toxicity in those cases lives on, and it lives on in them, and every time I shrink myself, it lives on in me. But not anymore. I'm done. It's over. Not for a second more. And if I sound angry, it's because I am. Why shouldn't I be? That's not a problem. That's safety for me. That's power for me. There's nothing wrong with you being angry. That doesn't make you off kilter or off center. There's something wrong with you. No. You better work through that. You better lean into that. The anger will pass. But right now, if you're angry whilst you question everything that has been said to you that has made you feel less than, and that has stopped you from being the person you're supposed to be, if anger comes from that, let it be. Because I'm not going to sit around and watch you wait until you're 39 before you say no. And that is the very reason why I do this. And that is the very reason why I will continue to do this. For people like me who 4 years ago finally said no. Finally said enough is enough. And then still had to sit through the trauma of the words still being there, even though the people aren't. How dare you? How dare you? Whew. You got this, girl. Trust me, you got this. We're going to do it together. I guess I'm considered a wounded healer because that is my purpose. I will not sit back and watch you go through what I went through and keep doing it to yourself. We all deserve better than that. Trust me when I tell you. Trust me, okay? My name's KT. I'm the Apothecary Alchemist. If you want to know a little bit more about me, links are in the description. But otherwise, go down to the comments and tell me what's the one truth about narcissistic manipulation that you feel most pissed off about right now. Be vulnerable. There's no judgment here. Take care.